Guys, can you believe Ram Mam's still banging on about last week? I'm freaking over that guy. What about you?
Bro.
Awesome.
Guys, we're back. Gridsy session live right now, 10 p.m. Eastern, every single Friday night. Absolute superstars joining us again for another chat here today. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure it's super important to help grow the channel. We're pushing for 10K. We're in 9K territory right now. We are gettable. We can get this. We need your help to do it. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And of course, thumbs up and comments as well. That's what it's all about. So no balls if you don't do it. I'm kidding. We have absolute superstars. Fulbright is joining us as well. One of the legends from Shadowlands, of course. How are you, brother? What's going on, man?
Oh man, just enjoying being here, man.
It's all happening. It's great to have you. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got everyone's favourite court jester below me and printer owner. Hello, Tass. How are you, brother? What's going on?
It's good, man. I just finished up wiping out on not being able to full clear my opponent, but I'm here. I'm in good spirits, and I've got a decent amount of bourbon in me. So what could go wrong?
It sounds like a recipe for an awesome evening right there. It really does, mate.
I tell you,
commiserations on the run.
I had one of those earlier this week, Tassenix. I felt like Dagger. Like I finally knew what it felt like to just get rammed hard. You know, that was what my first opponent did to me this week, and I was like, "Man, this is how Dagger feels."
Oh, we're up and about, and of course, we got Grid joining us as well, mate. Huge week last week. Crazy stream, mate. It really was the biggest stream we've ever had. Make no mistake. That was one out of the box, mate. Yeah. I'm still, up and about from it, mate. The hype is still there. It was a pretty cool experience, brother. It really was.
It was. That was. I actually had some like IRL friends message me that showed up for the night that I hadn't, really. We talked a little bit about it, but I didn't like fully expect them to like actually show up. And they're like, dude, we watched the show last week. That was super awesome. You guys did great. It was really fun to watch you guys. And I was like, wait, really? Like, it was cool. It was really cool. It was really humbling. It was really awesome. That was a great time last week for sure.
It was. We got a couple of things out of it. One thing we got is Doja doesn't know how to use Wampa against Mothma. We learned that very, very quickly when he torpedoed my GAC run. Love you, Doja. Thanks very much for that. I'm joking. Get stuffed. Love you, brother. Okay, so thank you so much for that one. The other thing we learned is we got 2 new reactions as well live. One where Doja basically says that if it doesn't work, he doesn't care. So we now use that live on stream. The other one was basically where Crumbs says, hey, let's just burn that team. So we've got...
Dude, it was so funny to me too, because it's such a stark like contrast to what, like a lot of times I'm like, no, I need this team to work, or it has to work just right, or I'm like tweaking things just well, or I'm like, no, I can't lose this, or and he's just like, if I lose, I don't care, and I'm just like, I need to adopt that mentality.
Yeah, it seemed to be working, that's for sure. But guys, we got a lot to cover, of course, as well. Huge week. Finally got the road ahead, which was great. A lot of information about that, especially around GAC, and we talked about a little bit of this on Thursday. But I think it's worth covering again with you guys. Because GAC is pretty damn important these days. I mean, we stream the game, of course, so that game mode, so it means a lot to us. But I actually want to start with Grid, if you don't mind. I just want to ask, are you happy with the GAC changes? Because obviously you're in like me with this. We're at the coalface with Tass as well. So are you happy with the new changes kicking in for players?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are implications that need to... I don't know, maybe it's something that has to be addressed. Maybe it's going to be addressed down the road. I don't know. But like, there's going to be like, if we can set defenses that are going to carry over, from GAC, as long as you join, you can set the defense, and that's what's going to be auto set. There's now going to be that sort of like, I don't know, what would you call it? Like a cap that people won't be able to go through, because right now, if you run into one of those, whatever, 9 mil, 7 mil, it doesn't matter, like whatever, large account that's just falling because they don't play GAC. Before, the way that they got around that, right, was saying, if they auto set, they have to get at least 10 banners in order to, get points and play and whatnot. And you could normally get around some of those auto sets. You could beat a team or two or maybe three or whatever it is. And so those lower GP accounts, as they're climbing, if they ran into one of those dead accounts, they could still kind of beat them. But now if everybody has a preset defense, those large 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mil GP accounts that don't want to play can now just put a true defense down and then will win like for sure against the person who has 4 million GP or whatever. So it's, I don't know if they're going to address that, but that's one thing that like kind of had me worried in my personal opinion.
But that comes down to matchmaking overall though, doesn't it? I think that still needs to be looked at. I think that we mentioned that actually last week, and maybe I'll ask Tass this one if I can. You know, the matchups now with the new system, of course, we're finding that higher GP players are dropping down on purpose to take down those, you know, those players that really, you know, it's what's the best way to put it? I think someone said the other day, and this is not my term, clubbing baby seals. I think that's what it was. And I don't like it, but, you know, seriously, it's just gross. It really is. And, you know, it's frustrating a lot of players. Tass, is it an inherent problem, or is it something that's going to settle in time, or what do you think?
It's going to settle. It's something that's going to be an advantage for a couple of weeks, right? Like people choosing to lower themselves to be predisposed to winning their next couple of matches against people. You know, it could be 2 matches, it could be 3, it could be 4, but it isn't going to be too many more than that. And then they're going to get normalized. So I think that's just kind of a temporary tactic. I think that for people like me who run Hotbot, as soon as my bracket is generated, like the second it's generated, I am running it. I will have a very accurate snapshot of everybody's mods because I am running that GA compare command that's gonna, you know, size you up versus everybody in your bracket, and you'll have a snapshot right then and there. And if they change their mods after that moment, every time you go back in with Hotbot and use like a GA current and get your comparison with your current round opponent, you can see if there's any difference between the GA current pop-up and the GA compare from the start of the week. I mean, that was always a strong tactic, but it's even stronger now because everybody has the incentive to keep their exact GAC mods right up until the moment of lockout, and then they have to change over just as soon as they can. So if you're scouting them just as soon as the TW attack phase starts, odds are you have extraordinarily accurate information.
Yeah, straight up. And Fulbright, and with that, obviously you have to wait until the instant it's live, and we know that, you know, clocks are not everyone's friend around the world, right? So
yes,
yeah, that's something that's always been certainly a big issue. It's really hard to, I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, I like the whole auto update feature now with GAC. I mean, you can virtually do what you can in Territory Wars. You can, you know, log in, join with the current mods you've got, and then you can hit the auto update button. Pushes it straight up, you know, so if you unlock a new character, if you put new gear on it, put new mods on it, it'll lock it in later down the track. Fantastic change. Something that has been, it happened the other day with, you know, one of our guild mates that I spoke to. He said, damn it, you know, hit the join button just by habit and didn't have all the mods on, and he's stuffed for the week. So something I think we're all happier with.
Oh,
yes.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are some quality of life updates that I don't know, should have been here like a while ago. Yeah. But I'm glad they're here.
And I have a prediction here. I think that Hot Sauce will come up with a Hotbot command that will automatically, where you can set it on a timer where it'll run the command and pull the data you need. So you can see, so people, no matter what time zone they're in, will have up-to-date data. I'm sure Hot Sauce is already working on that.
Yeah, okay. So the idea is it'll take the snapshot at lock, for instance, and then that's something you can refer to later. So even if they move mods, you will know what he had anyway. Yeah, I love that.
And if he's not already working on it, then I'll let him know where to send a royalty check.
and honestly, I mean that should be something that, I mean, when you're looking at mods, that should be something that's in game. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you should be able to go to the GAC section, look up your character, and not have mod differences, it shouldn't be current view. It should be, okay, we locked it with those mods on that character. This is what you're searching for in the GAC section instead of just taking whatever's live right now in your arena, like a couple of days later. I think that's a flaw in the system, isn't it? Because
sorry to interrupt, but grats to Yoda Force, 1 year subscription to Heinze. Kick ass.
Yoda, big boss man. Cheers, boss. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Mwah! Love you, bro. I think the improvements are great. Let us know in the comments below which one are you most happy with, which one are you looking forward to. But I think we're definitely now with GAC being so important. It's all crystals. Let's be honest. That's the main reward here now. That's the main lifeblood of a lot of players, free to play especially. I think that anything that's going to make it better for people to play GAC, I'm all for. Absolutely.
See, I think GAC is actually even more important than just crystals, though. I hate it whenever people just like oversimplify it down to like that's the main thing. Yeah, I mean, if you're it doesn't matter what guild you're in. If your guild is trying to be competitive, or you want to try to surround yourself with good players you can bounce ideas off, when people are going to start to look at those skill ratings, look at where you rank.
From a recruiting point of view, is that what we're talking about? Recruiting?
Not the recruiting point of view, but even just like a trust point of view.
Right.
Would I'm not going to ask somebody for advice or their opinion, or even try to, get them as part of my little inner circle if their skill rating, is like 2,000 or something, right? And they're like in, the 5,000 level of Kyber 2. I'm not going to do it, right? I'm going to try to find people that actually participate better, and put more thought and effort into it. The more they're exposed to all these different rounds of GAC, the better they are going to be at picking counters, knowing how counters work, knowing how the kits work, and also how to mod, right? So GAC is the creme de la creme of Swago right now. Pretty simple.
Love it. Straight up. I like it a lot. Guys, let's move on to something else that dropped, of course, this week. And, there's a Grand Inquisitor coming. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know what it entailed. And it sounds like in a certain game mode, and I'm expecting it to be Territory Wars, looking at the rest of the Inquisitors, it's going to be a GL killer in that game mode. That's what they've said. Straight up. Grid, do you want to go first, mate? Now that this has been released, are you happy, unhappy about hearing this? Because, now we're starting to get a clear picture on what these Inquisitors are all about.
Yeah. And there's a couple of other points that we saw on the road ahead that I think are worth mentioning, but sticking specifically with the Inquisitors, we did get the little, just the taster that in order to unlock the Grand Inquisitor, you need 5 other Inquisitors, like separate from him. So at a minimum, we will have 6 Inquisitors in the game. And I think that's worth like kind of discussing as to almost like why. Like, and not like a negative thing, but just like, I'm kind of curious if you are, building a team, it's going to be 5 people. Like that's, you have your 5 characters, and that's very common. And then the players will kind of, mess around with them and do some stuff. So the squad is built thinking about 5 characters. I'm really curious why we have this like 6th one, like what's going to happen? What Inquisitor are they kind of like, well, you're probably not going to use this one. Are they just going to be irrelevant? Are they going to be totally useless apart from unlocking the Grand Inquisitor? Or is this potentially like, you'll want to use him somewhere else? And that somewhere else that I keep kind of going back to is Vader. Are the Inquisitors going to be more kind of geared towards Lord Vader rather than like Inquisitors? I don't know. I'm curious. We're going to have those 6 Inquisitors. Their kits look pretty freaking sweet. I'll be going for them as soon as I can. But yeah, they look pretty cool. And I mean, if you didn't think Grand Inquisitor was coming to the game, I don't know where you've been, but I'm excited to see him. Yeah. I really am. I'm pumped. And I'm excited to see which ones they're going to be.
I like it. Yeah, it's strange. I mean, we know that their leaderships are built to take down a certain Jedi. So I assume that maybe... And I mean, look, I'm only just spitballing here. I would expect that maybe, we do have 5 coming and they take down 5 different Jedi. So you're going to chop and change the mix, depending on who you're taking down. I assume there's going to be 6 different Jedi they're going to counter directly, but I may be wrong. Tass, am I on the right mark here, mate, or what are you thinking?
So everything so far has led us toward what you suggest for a territory war focused Omicron on Grand Inquisitor. But I wonder whether or not it might be a Grand Arena Omicron, because you've already got a territory Omicron on a couple of the characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have options for going at this TW wise. And I know they don't want to have this team be just, hogwash in GAC.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that they could give that some value is, you have your TW options with these other Inquisitors, right? Maybe Grand Inquisitor has a GAC Omicron. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because I don't want the team to be nigh unto irrelevant in GAC. We've kind of been going after this now for the last couple of months. They've been taking us in this direction since Star Killer. This is the next, build up your shards on these characters towards this end level character. That's what our Grand Inquisitor is looking like here. So I want to believe there's going to be some GAC utility to this Inquisitorius team.
I hope there is.
Well, can I throw that idea out there, and I'll ask Fulbright if I can. Is there any reason why Grand Inquisitor can't be like Old El Paso? Why not both? Could it be an Omicron that actually triggers something in both game modes? Does it need to be just one? I mean, it hasn't been done before, but is there any reason why it can't have, some sort of skill abilities that work in Territory War, and also some in GAC to make that OP as well?
I would actually dislike it if they did an Omicron that played in both the game modes.
Okay, interesting.
And let me tell you why. So, everybody has to. The best thing about Swago is you can't have everything, right? You have to pick and choose your battles, pick and choose what you want to focus on, pick and choose how you want to customize your roster.
Lapsing credit card.
No. Even the people with the biggest credit cards still lack something. In most of them it's mods, if you haven't noticed. But so you're always sacrificing something. So I think that the good thing about the Omicrons is they've been throwing them on tertiary characters. I mean, I love it when you have a Zam Wessel or they put it on something like Wampa. I mean, I love that because it's a character that you've had to that's been around forever, has very little usage, honestly, until now. Bam, you can throw something on it and make something out of it that isn't part of all these squads. I like the fact that it's unique to one game mode. So they're not taking a secondary or third character like Phasma or hell, even your Jawa that we were talking about earlier. And then suddenly now, it's a badass in all game modes. No, that's wrong. But making it to where you can just use it in one spot. But, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I like that. And I would actually hate to see them kind of bastardize that by putting it in multiple places. I like the fact that it's split. Yeah. And then you can have, if you can have little communities that say, hey, we're all going to do like this Mace Windu Omicron, and we're going to be really good in Territory War. Or you can have another community that says, hey, we're only going to do the GAC Omicrons, and we're going to really try to compete and to be on the leaderboard in GAC. That's awesome, because then people can have the experience, that a tailored experience that they want to have in this game. It's not just one size fits all.
Yeah. No, I get that. What do you guys think? Anything you guys want to add? Yes, no, maybe?
I mean, somebody said it in chat, isn't an Omicron that plays in both game modes just like a good Zeta? That's pretty much a Zeta. I get what you're saying, totally. I think it could be kind of interesting if they were different. If it was while in territory battles you do this, while in territory wars you do this, while in GAC or whatever you do this. If they're totally different, I think it could be kind of interesting to see how that same character can perform differently. Yeah. But I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying.
I like Tassenix's idea earlier, where you've got some of the characters that work good in Territory Wars, some of them that work great in GAC. That would be really cool. That way, you can focus on which ones you want to actually, set up for how you want to use them.
Fair enough. I actually want to ask Tass something as well. I'd ask Grid, but it's not his forte. So I want to ask Tass. How does Starkiller go against Kenobi? No, it was a joke. It was a joke. I wasn't going to ask that.
Wow,
I wasn't going to ask that. It's a joke. It's a joke.
That is
Right.
recently opened wound.
I do.
Yeah. No, I got an answer for you guys. The short answer is not fucking well.
It was a joke. It wasn't actually the question. The question is about ships.
No, it's cool. No, it's cool. I got an answer for your joke question, bro. The answer is not fucking well.
No.
Let me
The
tell
question.
you something. If you don't have the clip to have seen the evidence to prove it thusly, you've got it now.
For those that don't know, while we're recording this live, just before we start recording this, we're actually trolling our boy Tass on his stream when he was going up against that battle, and it did not go well. So I couldn't help myself. Had to be done. Just had to fill everyone in with
brutal.
it. But anyway, moving
real,
right along.
It was bad. It was real bad.
Yep, mission accomplished. Okay, let's talk about something he does know more about ships. Let's talk about ships. Change to executor during the week. There's been a tweak. Let's get down and talk about the executor change to the AI. And it shook a bit up, Tass. It shook a few things up, and, counters that we've used consistently, if there is such a thing as consistency with the executor.
All right, let's
calm down.
Let's be real, guys. I mean, like the premier counter that wasn't a mirror for executor has been Malevolence with Imperial TIE Fighter out front for months. Yep. It's just been that way. And now that we have this buff to the executor AI, you have the potential that the target that you want to mass assist just got a big heal beforehand. So Malevolence is greatly endangered by this change to the AI. They have, fortunately, CG is willing to introduce a solution to the problem that they have created. The problem is that you have to pay for that solution, right? So that solution is going to be your new and revamped finalizer using your echelon.
Yeah.
And I have seen an opponent within the last round or two have tough times against the executor using even a Relic 7 First Order officer for their echelon.
Relegate.
So guys, if you're looking to do the echelon counter, the finalizer counter to executor, I highly encourage you taking that First Order officer to Relic 8, because the one and only time I've tried to run it, I won. And I'm not saying the Relic 8 was integral to that victory, but I will say that the lack of the Relic 8 for some of the other people that I've watched has been integral to their failure.
There we go. Straight up. There we go.
I will say,
yeah.
There's one more counter that actually got hit really hard by this. And jokes aside, I know I hate ships, but I know ships. I hate them, but I know them. And there's another counter that's been popping up that didn't get that much publicity. At least it doesn't look like quite yet. But people know of it. You guys will probably know what I'm talking about. But it's Negotiator with Vader, Fives, and Anakin. And I personally have made that counter work a couple of times. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, there's actually even only a couple of videos I was able to find on YouTube. And I was actually working on my own to throw out there if I can make it consistent. And this update destroyed that.
Yeah.
Massacred it. And so if you have no idea what we're talking about, effectively what the AI change is the executor AI will now better target the weakest enemy.
Yeah.
And so what happens is the way that counter worked was Fives would go first. You hit target lock. Vader strips the turn meter from the Hound's Tooth. You get a buff immunity from Anakin, mass assist, you kill Houndstooth, and then you just kind of walk through everybody else. It sounds weird, but it actually worked relatively safe. 4-star, 5-star, no problem. 6-star, 7-star get kind of weird.
Maybe I'm high off my ass here. I thought it was going to be, I thought it was like healing the weakest ally more than it was something to do with the weakest enemy. I am open to the possibility. I am drunk off my ass, though.
Yes.
You're right, Tass. It does. It heals the weakest ally. It really tries to keep them too. That is one of the changes. Everybody should have known that just by doing their fleet climbs today.
Yeah. And so anyways, that counter is getting massacred as well. And so they took care of a couple in one go. And so you're just like, oh,
Mhm.
great. And then Finalizer is obviously one of the squishier ones as well. So like it was this like sweeping, like you're gonna be okay-ish, but at the same time, it is really gonna mess with basically every counter.
So what happens from here then? Okay, because I mean the
You
only option
try.
seems to be the Echelon, right? That seems to be the only solid option now when you know how to play it against Executor. So what happens from here? Are we going to get another ship soon or something along those lines that's basically going to break Executor down, or is he just going to stay up there and we're just going to have to keep dealing with it forever? Like what's
All right, well,
what's
who
going
are
to
you
happen?
asking first?
Well, let's start with you, Tass. You put your hand up first. I'm asking you.
I mean, we all know Ravager's coming, right? Like the idea that this nerfs the Malevolence, okay, fine. So you have this Finalizer option, you have the Executor Mirror option. You have those two options until this new Sith fleet reveals itself. Until then, I mean, you have two reliable options. And if you're not planning on using one of the two, then shame on you. I mean, that's just the current state of the board, guys. I mean, I don't like it. You don't like it. It is what it is, right? You're gonna make hay. While
do we know the Ravager's coming though? I mean, there's it was a leak, but that was a while ago, and everything else has come out since then.
But all right. With no other information being provided, and I'm not saying I have anything else. The meta of GAC is certainly such that for them to grow it, it makes the most sense for them to first grow it in fleet. We are going to see going from 2 defense zones and 2 attacks to 3 and 3.
At the top end. At the top end. At the top end.
I'm sure of it. And I'm sure that the Ravager will be part of that. But I think this change is going to be, the harbinger of the Ravager to come.
And as I said in chat right now, it's true. No one asked for this executor AI change. It's a ridiculous change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go Fulbright. Yeah. Go, bro.
So it looks like if you look at the history of how they've done it with ships, they would introduce a kind of a ship meta that would be dominant almost 9 months to a year before adding something different that kind of changed it around. Where they're at the point now where Tass is right. If they go 3 and 3, they have to introduce something new, or you would be able to just set 3 fleets and nobody's going to clear. Right, there has to be a third introduction.
Oh, there's going to be a lot more ships. There has to be a lot more than 3.
Well, I mean a
whole
new faction is what I mean, like a whole new capital ship, with some ships to go around it, right? So I would say that we were looking at probably, I would say 3 to 6 more months of Piet being the main target, before they do that. So I mean, I think you're safe for 3 to 6 months.
Okay, fair enough. Grid, do you agree?
Just based on CG's history of how they've done it.
Yeah, that's fair. Grid, is that about right? You agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I'm hoping. So just to touch on like the Ravager thing, I think would be. I mean, I asked for the Ravager like years ago. I love Knights of the Old Republic. I thought that'd be really cool. So I would love to see it. Since our trajectory is going towards like Inquisitors and that sort of like, we have the Kenobi trailer coming up in the Kenobi show. If we were to like backpedal and just all of a sudden here's the Ravager from the Old Republic, unless there's some like somehow a cameo coming, I don't understand where that would like really come from. So I'm not like holding my breath for the Ravager specifically, but I do think the ships are going to get an upgrade here soon. And I'm really like, me personally, I'm really fingers crossed and hoping. I think it's a perfect mirror to like character to ship. If we were to get Red 5 that had CLS and R2D2, and you effectively bring in what R2D2 did to the Darth Maul meta, which was burning that stops evasion. That's like a super frustrating thing with the Executor fleet. We've all been there when it dodges 19 times in a row, and the next thing you're throwing your computer out the window. Like, we've all been there, or your phone, right? We've all been there. I would love to see, maybe even if it's just a ship, like literally if it's Red 5, that all of a sudden gives this like maybe like almost like Echo, this AoE unresistible, uncleansable or something, daze and then like evasion down. I would love that. Like something that's even just semi-safe to kill the Executor. But I do think we're about due for another capital ship, just like what Tass said. I think we're about to see 3 fleets, and all of the Grand Arena is probably going to get bumped up. They specifically mentioned that these changes to Grand Arena and the road ahead, they're not done. Something else is coming. Something else is happening with Grand Arena. We know that. So maybe it is this. Everything's just going to get ramped up a little bit, and then here's another capital ship, and let's go for it.
Fair enough. And if anyone wants to know what Grid's thoughts are about evasion, there was a great little clip during the week that I saw where he was a little bit unimpressed with Seven Sisters kit this week. So I'm sure someone will be able to pop that in chat very, very soon if you want to watch Grid just actually get up and walk away from his desk in frustration. He loves evasion like you would not believe.
You've been having a tough week with that frustration shit, Grid.
Yeah, he hasn't been happy. He hasn't been happy. But give it a minute. I'm sure someone will put the link in chat. It was freaking hilarious. Someone sent it to me. It was absolutely brilliant. Anything else you guys want to cover before we wind this up today? Is there anything I've missed that you guys want to chat about?
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's anything else like big spectrum wise for the game. We've got other things coming, but I mean, I know we've talked about this a couple other times here on Gridsy. We're coming up on a 3 fleet meta, right? 3 fleets on defense for GAC. So if you're looking to be ahead of the curve, if you're looking to be ahead of the release schedule, bulk up your ships because it's coming sooner than later.
Fair enough. There's a tip, straight up. And yep, there's the Evasion Meta Forever clip in chat right now. Go and check that out soon. Sorry, Fulbright, you want to say something as well, mate? Before we
I said, don't forget, you got to bulk up the crew members.
Yeah, get them up. You got to get just even if you didn't know what the heck mods were at the start, and we've all been guilty of putting 6-dot mod finishes and stuff on crap mods. We've done that early on without knowing what the heck we were doing. They are ideal candidates for crew members. Put them on there because they will buff it up and you're not actually losing any speed anywhere else. Highly recommend that. We've all got them in our roster. Highly recommend doing that. That's absolutely fantastic. We were going to talk about Mace, but I won't. I'm going to catch up with Rambam. There's going to be a link at the end of this video. I'm catching up with Rambam in the next 24 hours, and I want to get his take, a week after now that Mace is in game. So there's no point covering that in this video. I'm going to cover that one with Rambam directly, if that's okay with you guys. So look out for that video. That'll be coming not far after this one. Guys, it's been great. Awesome little chat. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, of course, please. We're pushing for a 10K. Huge party if we hit that. That would be insane. So, guys, keep helping us out. Spread the word. Hit the thumbs up. Get the comments in there. Let us know what you think about any of the topics we talked about today. Love you guys. We'll see you again next week, 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it.